Hello and welcome to our session on basic German grammar and pronunciation. If you are new to German, welcome. I hope you will fall in love with this language. Maybe you have always thought the German sounds so harsh and sometimes a little bit, there's a lot of consonants and it might sound a little bit guttural. There's a lot of and sound. Don't let that put you off. Embrace this learning curve, and the reward is great. This is just a basic guide to help you along. If you, for instance, are a choir director that is thinking of presenting a German choir piece or a chorister, or maybe you are planning ahead for solo and ensemble and you want to sing a German art song or even a German aria, I really do hope that this little session will help you and aid you in pronouncing and enunciating the words correctly, and that you've got a better understanding of the language. There are some basics that I want to just make you aware of. Now, of course, um, there's many exception to the rule, but when it comes to word stress, for the most part, just keep this sort of in the back of your mind that this first stress, the first syllable, usually in German takes the stress. Like for instance, the word that I wrote down there, Gatten, Gatten. We can hear that it's clearly on the first syllable. Now, of course, there are many exceptions because of, for instance, compound words. There are suffixes that usually makes that the word the second syllable, even the third syllable takes the stress. So just be aware of it. We have it sort of like in English as well, like become, or if I have the word, let's see, against, okay, and the same was sort of with German as well. Vergleich, we can hear that little suffix, and then the second syllable takes the stress. Or if I have got gedenket, that we can hear that's the second stress. But for the most part, just keep this in the back of your mind that the first syllable usually perhaps might take that stress. Glottals, those are very important, and that means that the word usually starts on a vowel, and we don't want to elide like we would normally in Italian. So be aware of those. That's the sort of challenge with German, that we have to still sing a beautiful legato line, but when there are glottals, when words start with vowels, we have to make a little glottal. So glottal is something like, if I say every orange, right? And both of those words starts with a vowel, and I can't go every orange, no, every orange, but I still have to say it in a sort of a fluid legato style. And there's, for instance, the IPA symbol for glottal is the one that looks almost like a little bit of a question mark. Atme, atme. So just to make you aware of it. You will see that I use a lot of these square brackets. Now, those are for the International Phonetic Alphabet. Even if you don't know the IPA, is short for International Phonetic Alphabet, do not let that put you off. This is a helpful tool for you so that you can start to realize what does each one of these symbols mean and sound like, and they are representative of a sound. I will, as we go through the slides, I will definitely guide you towards some English equivalent sounds that we have in English, and that's the same sound that we have in German. So don't let that put you off. I put here at the bottom, consult your dictionary, because this is really important, like the Collins Dictionary, or which one I really like is this one, the Pons, and I've given you the link there at the bottom. Just copy it over into your Google search. And what I really like about this online dictionary is that it's online, so it's easy accessible. And then also that the pronunciation of you, if you put a word in, there will be a German speaker that will enunciate the German for you. And also there is IPA, which is once again this international phonetic alphabet that they always include in next to the word. So, and then of course the translation into English. You can go from German to English, or you can go from English to German. So that's a really, really helpful resource. So please make use of it. And as I said, yes, there are basic rules, and we are just really stating the purpose of this course is just to state the basics to help you get started with German. But there are many exceptions. It's not that many. Don't let me put you off. But there are exceptions, and we have to be aware of that. Okay, so just as an overview on German vowels, we have 16 vowel sounds, and that includes all of the diphthongs as well. Something that's different between English and German is that there is a distinct difference between short and long vowels. How I short or long I pronounce each one of these vowels. This is important, and please pay attention to this, because that might, if you don't do it, if you pronounce a short vowel that should actually be a long vowel, you might actually change the meaning of the word. So that's really important. Long vowels is usually indicated by a little colon in IPA, and you will see that as well as we go through the slides. And I'm going to go over some basic sort of rules governing these vowels and to help you out here. So there are 4 different categories of German vowels. We have front vowels, we have back vowels, mixed vowels, and diphthongs. Okay, so the front vowels means that the tongue is sort of in the front of the mouth, and they both have got open and closed vowels, and we're going to discuss each one of those. So you can see e, 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 a. Those are all sort of forward vowels. Back vowels, on the other hand, is like the tongue. It's a little bit more lip involvement. Ooh, or I'm not pronouncing all of them in a specific order, but just to make you aware. And it feels like the tongue is a little bit more back. So if you want to make the distinction, go from a front vowel, and we can feel that the tongue is a little bit more back in the back. Mixed vowels is sort of just exactly what it is. It's a mixture of sounds. So there's definitely a mixture of a combination of sounds. Diphthongs, of course, goes through 2 articulate position. We can hear that ow, ow, that we go through 2 articulate positions. We change from one to the other to form both sounds. Whereas, of course, the mixed sound, it's a mixture of vowels, but we maintain one articulate position. Don't worry if you don't know what any of these symbols mean. We are going to go through each one of these and the rules that associate with each one of these sounds of the vowels. So let's start with frontal vowels. That was our first column. Remember, frontal, back, mix, or diphthongs. And we're going to go through each one of those categories. So we have got a mixture here of closed and what is seen as open vowels. Okay, E is seen as a closed long vowel, right? Remember the long and short vowels, that's important, right? So a few spellings that you might see in German, it's an I spelling followed by a single consonant. And I've given sort of examples here at the end for you. Gip, deep. So I'm not going to go deep, 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 deep. Those are nice and long, right? An I with an H, im. Can you see the glottal there as well? Long I sound. And an IE spelling, leet, leet. I'm not going to go leet, leet. Nice and long. Leet, leet. Deep, im, leet. So those are all that you can expect that has got a closed I long sound. Its counterpart is also a frontal vowel, but it's open. and it's a little bit shorter, right? If I have an I spelling with two or more, that's what the little plus sign is, that means consonants that's followed after the I, usually I have that it is a capital I sound. Build, build. So can you hear, I'm not going build or geep. There's a little bit more length in that sound. Build, build, sing. We have that in English, like in the word sing, sing. I'm not going to go sing, sing, sing. It's just a little bit more height on that vowel. So that's that IPA, capital I, is like the word English word sing. If I have a final IG or IN, and I've given you example there again, gatten, gatten, gatten. I'm not going to go gattin, gatten, gatten. So it's a shorter open vowel sound, and those two are sort of friends. Those I, long, and capital I, that's a little bit shorter. Staying with our frontal vowels, we have friends again, the close E sound and the open E sound, right? Once again here, and these are easy to identify because you'll start to see the same rules over and over, right? An E sound, an E sound plus a single consonant, den, helps us to equate to this long closed E sound. Now the closed E sound is like the English word hey, hey, before the diphthong, right? Obey, I'm just trying to think of another English word. Hey, or goodness, why can't I think of an English word right now? Give me 1 second. Let me just think of. Been busy with the other ones here as well. Oh, chaos. There we go. So, like the word chaos is helpful to remember that close E sound. Chaos, chaos, or hey. But be careful that we don't change articulate positions, right? So, E, den, den. Can you hear it's not ding, but den. An E plus an H, the, nice and long. And double E spelling is meer, meer. Okay? Its friend, that's the open vowel, is like the word, it's the backwards 3, right? Can you see the symbol? It looks like a backwards 3. That is like the word bed or said, be, bed. So it's an E plus 2 or more consonants, and the word that I gave there is welt, welt. I'm not going to go welt and make it long. It's a little bit shorter, so that's why it doesn't have the colon. Welt, welt. Or then, and this you see often, and this is what we call an umlaut, right? It's an A that has got two little dots. Sometimes these vowels have got little dots over them. That's what we call an umlaut. And that sound is always an open E sound. Lächeln, le, e, be, lächeln. Okay, so den, long, closed, like hey, or obey. That's another one. And then, of course, the open bed, said, that is more open, welt, welt, and a little bit shorter. We also have two pairs of ah vowels, which is very important in the frontal vowel category. So once again, you see here, we've got an ah plus a single consonant, an ah plus an H, or then a double ah, a spelling, or if the ah is in the final position, we have this and this is like the word father, right? Tag, father in English. Tag, barn, dal, ya, right? And you hear that it's nice and long, and it's not quite as bright as the open vowel one that is much more sh, That is an A plus two consonants. As we've seen, that's sort of the same rule. If it's usually a vowel plus two consonants, that means that it's usually an open vowel. If it's a vowel plus a single consonant, that means that it's usually a closed vowel. Now, are there exceptions? Most definitely. So definitely go back and look through your song. And if you're unsure, just consult your dictionary again. So the longer R vowel, that is like the word father, right? Tag, van, zal, ja. And then the A with followed by two consonants is a little bit more brighter, schatz. And I'm not going to go schatz, schatz. Nice and short and nice and bright. So that concludes then the frontal vowels category in German. If we then move to the back vowels, we also see that the one has got a framed, so it's a closed vowel, and then it's got a framed in the open vowel. So a U spelling plus a single consonant usually constitutes to a longer U sound. Gute, gute. Can we see there again that it is that first syllable that takes the stress? Gute, right? Or Ruhe. There it was a U plus an H. Ruhe, Ruhe. Actually, there needs to be a little accent right there. Ruhe, gut. It's open vowel, friend, one that looks like a little bit of a horseshoe, right? Um, that is like the English word book or look or hook. Book, look, or hook. It's a U spelling plus two or more consonants that follows it. Luft, Luft, hook, look, oh, oh, Luft, Luft. Can you hear that's a little bit more open than the oo, roo? Go back and forth between the closed and the open, and you'll see that the length and also the openness or the closeness of the vowel. Ooh, gute, compared to Luft, Luft. A little bit shorter and a little bit more open. The other pair that we have in back vowels is the closed or and the open or. So once again, an O plus a single consonant, an O plus an H, or a double O usually constitutes to a closed or long vowel. Naught, ball, board, right? We can hear that it's closed. So this is like the word obey, obey in English. Naught, nice and long. Its friend is the open R. So this is the symbol for an open R is like a backward C. And that is like the English word I ought to do something. Oh. We can feel that there is initiation by the cheeks. We can see that the lips are rounded. They're not over rounded like for an ooh, for instance. But very important that the lips has this feeling that it's off the teeth, right? Ought to do something. We're a little bit lazy sometimes with our pronunciation in English, but here in German, it's really important to get to be very specific with these German sounds. And so an O and spelling of an O plus two or more consonants, Wort, 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 compared to Wohl, Wohl, Wort. And you hear that that is shorter and it's more open compared to the longer close O sound, Wort, Wort. Okay, let's move on to our mixed vowels. Here, U, U is our first one. We see that it's a U umlaut, a Y plus a single consonant. So either one of those, a U umlaut or a Y plus a single consonant constitute to this U sound, or a U umlaut plus an H. So the examples that I gave there is tu or blühen, blühen, tu. So it's, how do I form this sound? It's an E tongue position, and I just round my lips. Sometimes people have a tough time with this sound. First, give an E sound, E, and then keep on with that E sound and just round the lips. E. So it's vital that you do maintain the lip rounding on this. Otherwise, we're going to lose the purity of this vowel. Two, two. Can you see that's why it's a mixed vowel? Because it's a mixture of E plus U, or E plus U. My apologies. E plus U. Two. So first get the E tongue position, E, and then just round the lips into an U position. E, two, okay. Its friend is a little bit more open, and that is a U umlaut or Y with two or more consonants. So that's really very very easy to remember. The word is Wünsche, Wünsche. And I see I actually left off the Italian, the German word for that, Wünsche. Let me actually just quickly write that in so that you can know exactly what I'm talking about. Just Wünsche, Wünsche. V. So it's just a little bit more taller. It's almost feel that feeling of that capital I that we had on the open I sound. Wünsche. And it's short. I'm not going to go Wünsche, no, like blühen, blühen, Wünsche, Wünsche. So that is then my mixed vowels. Oh, actually, I think there's one more pair. Did we do both of them? No, here it is. I thought we didn't do all of them. The last mixed vowels that we have before we get to the diphthongs is this OE sound. So we have our third umlaut, an O with a little two dots plus a single consonant, or an O umlaut with an H, gives us this sound Flöte, Flöte. So here it is a tongue, it's a mixed vowel, so it's a tongue that's in an E, close E position. And we just round the lips into an O position. Flöte. So I'm just, it's an A plus an O sound. Tongue in an A position, and my lips round into an O position. Flöten, Söhne, Söhne. Can you see both of those? This accent is on the first syllable. Flöte, Söhne. Then we have its friend in the open vowel position. It's an O umlaut plus two or more consonants. And that gives us a little bit more of an opener, smaller sound. Töchter, töchter, töchter. Here my tongue is almost in an A position, open A, bed, like bed, and I'm just rounding it into an open O position. Or to do something, so tongue in an A position, like the word bed, and then the lips into the position of the English word ought to. So first open A, keep that, and then round it into an open R position. Töchter, Töchter. So Flöte, Söhne. Can you hear it's long and a bit more close? Töchter, Töchter is a little bit more open. Our last group that we get into is our diphthongs. These are nice and easy because they're very consistent. If you have a spelling of EI, AI, then it is the AE sound, tight, tight, or ein, sa, I. Can you see here that I'm changing two articulate positions? So that's why it's called a diphthong, because I'm changing from one to a next. We also get triphthongs, of course, and then I've gone changing three positions. I, tight, ein. The other one is the second diphthong that we get is AU spelling, and that is like Traum, Traum. Ah, nice bright owl, Traum, Traum. EU or A umlaut U spelling is giving us this open O and then sound. Freu, oide. If I go really slowly. boy, U, that's that U sound, Bäume, Freude, but nice open R sound, Freude, Bäume. So I'll just say all of the diphthongs again. Zeit, ein, Raum, Freude, Bäume, Freude, Bäume. There's some special sounds that I want to just quickly walk through with you, and a little bit some important consonants. I'm not going to go through all of the consonants because a lot of times the consonant that you see is just what you pronounce, although there are, of course, many exceptions. So do check your dictionary. This is the sound that we see often in German regarding the R sound. And I've given you sort of like a step-by-step method here of how to pronounce this wir. Careful here that the biggest problem that American speakers have a lot of time is that they want to retroflex the tongue and go wir. And retroflex meaning that the tip of the tongue falls back into the mouth. It sort of curls back on itself. Wir. And we want to have an like I'm doing space, and then I'm just going to make the tongue tip behind the bottom teeth and keep it there. Don't let it fall back. Wir. And we get this sort of upside down R sound. The other one, of course, is a flipped R. Basically, just to make it really simple, it's basically in all positions, final, at the beginning. Be careful there that it's, there are, of course, a lot of exceptions where there's a lot of sounds with the upside down R, so you just have to be careful and make yourself aware and be aware of which R takes which sound. But very important there that the upside down R should never be a retroflex R. Keep that tip of the tongue behind the bottom teeth. So that was really something that I just wanted to bring to your attention, because I see that often being mispronounced. The other big mispronunciation is the ich laut or the ach laut. And those are both symbols there of both of these sounds. And I wanted to just go into a little bit more detail about both of these sounds, the ich laut and the ach laut, because for speakers, they tend to mispronounce the one for the other one. The ich laut, that's just a little formation. You'll see that the tongue, the tip of the tongue, that's the apex, is in contact again with the lower teeth. The tongue front is arched frontwards, and there's a sort of the stream of voiceless stream of air that comes arched over the tongue. The ach laut is almost like you're clearing your throat. The tip of the tongue still stays behind the bottom teeth, right? But the tongue now arch more backwards almost against the soft palate, right? So it's almost like you are trying to not clearing your throat, but versus, and we really want to hear those two differences between those two sounds. There are some basic rules. Let me just move my image out of the way. For the ich laut, it's usually a frontal vowel, dich, that plus a ch. If I have an umlaut, remember, we know that it's a vowel. We've got those two dots over it. Früchte. We know that is an ich laut. These diphthongs, and I say most diphthongs, takes the ich laut, right? The exception to that is my here it flies on in. The exception is the diphthong AU, brau. So be careful for that. So that's the only diphthong that you have to be careful for. All other two diphthongs that we've mentioned previously takes the ich laut, but the AU spelling takes the ach laut. And then if it's a consonant plus a ch, welche. welche, welche. It also takes the ich laut. The ach laut is any of the back vowels. Remember what the back vowels are. Here, of course, I also put ah as a frontal vowel, but ah can be sometimes seen as a central vowel or the start of the back vowel series. So let's put it here with the back vowels series, at least for the achlaut. A plus O plus U. Any of those lip rounding vowels plus A takes the achlaut. Bruch, bruch, bruch. Now remember that that horseshoe sound is almost like a hook or book. Look, look, bruch, bruch. I'm not going to go bruch, 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 bruch. It's just a little bit more open. That's why it's an open friend of the U sound, of the U sound. Ooh. There's my exception again. AU takes the achlaut. And finally, I just wanted to take you through here through some basic consonants and their basic rules. Once again, there are many exceptions, so do check your Pond's dictionary or a hard like Collins or anything like that, just to make double sure. Okay. Usually a W spelling is going to be a V sound. Was, was. The one that looks like a walking stick is like the word sheep, that sound, right? Almost like you're telling somebody to be quiet, right? That is represented by the spelling of an SCH or initial SP or an ST. So I've given you examples there. Schön, Stunde, schön, Stunde, right? Close O, schön, and Stunde. Stunde, open, O sound. Then we have prepotalic, meaning that it's an S before a vowel is always a Z sound. Z, Z. We have this NG that almost looks like an N, but it's got like a little hook to it. That is like the word sing again. The NG of sing is sound. So it's an N and almost like a N and a G sound. We have that exactly, and that sound is represented by this N with a little hook. So if you have an NG or an NK spelling, you're going to probably use this. Klang or trink, trink. If it's an NK, then you are going to put a K after that as well. But klang, so that NG is represented by one sound, and trink, the N before K makes this N, and then you put the K sound after that. A final S, spelling in, if it's in a final position, that's always an S sound. Glass, glass. So you're not going to go glass and make it a Z sound. A final S, if it's final, is always an S sound. Glass. If the S, however, is in the initial position, or if it's in the initial element, meaning that it's the beginning of the syllable, like felsen, felsen. Actually, that is not correct. Let me change that. That should be a felsen. That should be a Z sound. See, going through this and finding a couple of mistakes myself. Silber, silber, silber. I'm not going silber. Capable of that, retroflexing. Silber. And then felsen. Nice open air. Felsen, felsen. So that S, if it's in an initial position, or if it's the beginning of the syllable, usually that means that it's going to be a Z sound. TS is usually represented by a Z sound, this spelling of the Z, so ganz, ganz, ganz. Yeah, so that is a Z spelling that is usually a TS pronunciation. A final little thought, because we have this often here in German as well, a final IG spelling is going to be a Ich laut. König, König. These are words that you probably often find in your songs as well. König, König. An IG plus a consonant is also a capital I plus an ich laut. Königs, Königs. However, if it is an IG plus a vowel, then it is a G sound. Heilige, Heilige, Heilige. And then just perhaps if you might come across these two words, an IG plus a lich or a reich, is going to be a ik sound. Königlich, Königlich. So these are just some variants of IG. Be very careful for that because each one of them, as you can see, are different. Königlich and Königreich. Königreich. So there the IG becomes a ik sound. But IG with a consonant followed by is a sound. IG plus a vowel is a g sound. And IG with a lich or a reich is an ik sound. So be careful for those little variants. I don't want to get into too much detail here, but I thought this is important just because we find these words often in our art songs or perhaps in our arias as well. Well, there you have it. Make sure that I hope this gives you a better understanding of at least the vowels and some consonants and just some basic pronunciation skills that you now have that you can take to your songs or to your choir pieces. Once again, strongly advise you to please, as you go through your song, go and have the Pond's dictionary, online dictionary open with you so that you can clearly make sure that you are pronouncing the German words correctly. Have fun with German. It's a great expressive language, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you.